Check, the author of Origin of Xavier, and the first book, The Spirit of Life, is coming soon near you in bookstores in the United States, only right now, okay? And today we are going to be working on a cosplay. I'm gonna be doing more YouTube videos in the future, don't worry. So basically, I'm going to be doing King Boo from Super Mario, and I'm basically only going to be doing the top for this video. Now, what I'm going to go for is kind of like an androgynous look, because I realized a ghost but with pants might look weird. I don't know. For other people looks fine. For me, when I think of a ghost, I think of the pale lady who's wearing a creepy white, slightly see-through dress or skirt. So I'm gonna be making a skirt too, but that's in a different YouTube video, not this one. So we're only gonna do the top. It's kind of like I'm basically gonna take a top I have and I'm basically going to be fixing it, kind of renewing it. And another thing is that I'm not going to be using a sewing machine. At the time, I didn't have my sewing machine with me. I didn't really know how to use it, so we were doing a mini hand sewing tutorial basically. And that's how it's going to go. But I'm not going to sew the entire time. I'm only going to sew like the first time to show you how I hand sew. So yeah. I also want to go over a couple of things because the video quality, I really hate to say that, but the thing is when I recorded this in like 5 different places. And lighting was different in all of them, and I didn't have my ring light, and it was just a mess. So yeah, it's kind of choppy, I'm not gonna lie. So that's basically it. So just bear with me on the quality and the fact that I'm like in different places trying to do this. So just bear with me, alright? So that's what we're gonna do today. I dropped my pencil. Anyways, that's what we're gonna do today, and let's get into the materials list. Okay, so here I laid out all of my materials. Most of them you should be able to get from either Amazon or your local craft store. The only thing I'm not fully sure about is the fabric. So I'm gonna start off with what I have here. This is a clear ruler, the small one. I suggest a bigger ruler than this, like a full-size ruler. This is like a 6-inch ruler, so half. It's clear, so it's hard to see on camera. Also gonna need pins for the sewing portion. So I have a little container here of different colored sewing pins. Now this is a seam ripper. You basically just like, with this sharp point here, you kind of like go on the seam and you pull it out or rip it out. So that's kind of what that does. We got our thread cutting scissors, fabric scissors. Also have a colored pencil. As long as it's not white, then you're fine, just as long as any color, since the whole top I'm making is white or off-white, so I'm just using pink for today. And of course I'm gonna have my pin cushion. I also have my sewing needle. It's good to have extra of those. You're also gonna need white thread. The thread has to match what you are sewing onto, unless you know you're supposed to see the thread, but most of the time it's supposed to match, so I'm using white. Here is the fabric I'm using. So it's this weird like curtain-like fabric. I'm not sure where this is from. I don't know where to get it. I have no idea. I mean, it could be part of a curtain and not actual like fabric or like trim. I'm not really sure. so I can't really tell you much about it. The other thing I have is Velcro. There's this big roll right here. The funny part about Velcro is that, like, I don't really like the sound of Velcro. I bought so much because I needed it for a bunch of cosplay stuff. However, I really hate the sound of Velcro. My ears seem to be sensitive to it now, so I don't know. I think it's kind of funny how I use it even though I really hate it at the same time. But anyways, and the last thing I have is Olene's Okay to Wash It Permanent Fabric Bond. And basically, I didn't use this on camera. I used this off camera when I was basically putting the Velcro on so I could open and close the outfit. So I basically put this on to make it stick to the fabric. So that's the only thing I didn't show on camera, but I'm gonna put it on the materials list here so you know that I used this. So, and basically you just like put it on and then you kind of like, I used like clips like these sewing clips, and I would like hold the fabric or whatever you're using, like I would clip the Velcro on to the fabric and I would basically let it dry like overnight or something so that it sticks. So like you could tell I have like residue on here. It's actually hard to see. There you go. That's because of the fabric bond. So that's it. Just that small little list of things that fabric bond I forgot to show in the video, but other than that, that's it. Hi, hello. I'm going to be showing you basically the top to start off with. Here it is. It's really nice, kind of like vintage. And here is a closer look at it. You can see I'm kind of showing you the trim it has and all of its nice details. So here I am going to flip this over, and the first thing I want to do is basically detach this zipper completely, which is where I'm going to use the seam ripper. I should have flipped this whole shirt inside out, but I kind of didn't until later, so that's the awkward part of this video, where I'm just like ripping this seam while it's like the whole bottom is open. So here's the seam ripper. Basically, I'm gonna take the sharp part of the seam ripper without that like red ball, and I'm basically gonna put it underneath the thread and kind of like rip it out. And it's kind of difficult to do at first, but like once I start doing it a little bit, you'll see how it kind of comes loose and it's much easier to do. Okay, so with our colored pencil and our roller, I'm basically going to draw out a line all the way across because I want to take off the bottom portion of the shirt because it's a little too long. And it's a little weird because in the center, the line I draw is straight, and on the sides, it's at an angle actually. And the reason why that is because when the shirt is flat on the table, the sides kind of go out at an angle, so it's gonna look a little funky while they're not straight, but it's okay, it's gonna look good in the end. Okay, it's time to cut. Remember to cut along the line and also do it slow because you don't want to ruin the fabric. Like, you don't want to cut choppy or anything like that. So you're gonna go really slow, just bit by bit. Don't try to force it like you do with paper cutting scissors, where you just like slide it across and the whole thing cuts off. Don't do that here. So here I have the shirt. I cut off the bottom portion and it fits a lot better. I am liking how this is looking. So now what we're gonna have to do next is I'm gonna have to sew this bottom portion over so that it has a nice edge. Alright, so we are gonna take our pins, and the way I'm gonna be pinning this over is that I'm gonna be pushing this pin inside and then kind of popping it back out. The other thing is, for these edges, like I said, they're at a weird angle, and I cut it at an angle, so now we are going to be sewing it at an angle. So you'll see how I fold it over here at an angle, so it looks a little weird, but once the shirt's completely done, it's gonna look like natural, like the way it was supposed to be, instead of me cutting straight lines and then it being shorter in some parts. So that's what we're doing here, popping in these sewing pins, and we're gonna do that all the way across, and in the middle portion where the line was straight, we're gonna do the pins straight instead of at an angle. It's time to sew. We're going to take our needle and we are going to start pulling out our thread. I'm putting the needle on the pin cushion because it's a little easier for me that way to thread the needle. Now basically the thread, what you might need to do is cut with the thread scissors at the end in case there is fraying, so it makes it easier to thread it. And you're going to push it through the needle and everything, and then you are going to pull the string till it's halfway and it kind of doubles on itself. You'll see how here I have the string doubled, and then I'm gonna knot it. So it's one string, but the needle is going to be in the middle of the string. And then we're gonna knot it here a couple times, more than once, and that's how we thread it. To start sewing, we're gonna pop in the needle here right at the end, and I'm gonna be sewing above the pins. I prefer to do that because it's just neater instead of sewing towards the bottom of the pins, because then you're gonna have this extra fabric to be cut off. So we're not gonna do that. We're gonna pop the needle in, we're gonna pull all the way till basically the knot gets to the fabric, and then we're gonna pop it back in on the other side. This is like classic sewing, I'm not sure the name of it, but we're gonna go back and forth like I'm gonna be doing here, which is a little hard to see. Alright, so when you are finished sewing, don't forget to cut off that extra string at the ends like I just did there. Alright, so when you get to the end of the thread, make sure you leave a little bit of room, because we're basically gonna thread through the same place we were popping the needle into. You're kind of gonna make a knot. You're gonna leave a little loop, not pull it all the way, and you're gonna put the needle through the loop like I'm trying to show you here. And I do that a couple times, basically just putting this needle in the same spot a couple different times and just making it into a knot. And then once I do that a couple times, I will end up cutting the needle off, and then I will take the 2 strings I have and I will do more knots with it. So it should be really secure. Okay, so you can see here, it's nice and secure, the sewing I did for this edge. You shouldn't have any seams popping or anything out. This is kind of a stress test I'm doing. If something does pop out, then clearly you need to re-sew it. And make sure you sew it nice and tight, because when you pop the needle in and out, you don't want to do it too far apart. You want to do it nice and close and pull nice and tight so that it's secure, just like this. Alright, so this is the top we have with the finished sewing. And it looks really well so far. I mean, there is like a little part here that's a little messed up, but I am gonna fix that off camera. Okay, these flaps I'm showing you here, I actually do sew off camera. I sew them down just so they're not like annoying and stuff. So I'm just showing you. That's where the zipper was. Alright, so here I'm going to show you basically the problem with this top. You could see here, this is a torn hole and it's been like sewn together really weirdly, which I just showed you. So we're gonna take that apart with the seam ripper, just rip these threads. It looks really nasty and gross, not gonna lie. So here I am just tearing this open. It's a really weird hole, and the awkward part about it is that the edges are like hard. Like, I'm not sure what happened to it, but something definitely happened to it. Like, it wasn't just like a hole that got ripped. I don't know what, but it's really weird. As you can see, I'm gonna like pull this piece of the edge off that was like hardened. So yeah. Alright, you can see here I cut everything off, and this fabric right here, not the trim but the plain fabric, I'm basically going to be replacing it. You'll see how I like set it up, where I'm going to place the trim, and then above that is going to be the new fabric that I'm using, the curtain-like fabric. And I think I used 3 of these, maybe 2 of these. I think they're all the same size, I'm not entirely sure. But I did use a few of these, and what I showed you earlier was an extra. So here I am setting it up. So I'm basically replacing that old fabric, and then I'm going to be sewing the trim back on. So we are sewing again here, but the thing you want to be careful with is that you want to sew the fabric and not like that extra like fabric on top that's like this little nice little decorative part. You want to push that away. You want to sew the back part of it. So here I am with it sewn on correctly. I was trying to show you earlier. I don't know if that was a good image of it,
But yeah, so here I'm doing the second one, and the thing is with the second one is that you want to sew vertically right here along this line to sew the two things together. Here it is totally, it does look a little weird because you can see how I've sewn the two together, but I mean, it's not horrible. I'm hoping it's not too noticeable. I'm not really sure. Here is with the trim, which looks really nice. This is all with the whole top replaced that we have here. So now we're attaching Velcro. I should have used the fabric bond here, but I forgot to use it and then I did it later, which is why it wasn't recorded. So we're gonna measure this out. We're gonna cut off the portions that is extra or too long or whatever. I'm gonna trim that on both sides, and then for half of the shirt, we are going to stick the Velcro on the inside. For the other half, we're doing it on the outside of the shirt, so that when you close it, one ends up on top of the other facing together, which you'll see I do this here and I just stick it on.
Hi, welcome back. Hopefully the video went over everything well. I know there was some issues with it, but hopefully it was good. I hope you enjoyed it because I did. And don't forget to like, subscribe. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Let me know what future videos you want to see, what you would like me to do differently, anything like that, leave it below, and I'll see you next time.